Have you ever noticed how, in the heat of anger, words seem to escape your lips faster than your mind can catch them? It's almost as if your tongue takes the wheel while reason is left stranded on the side of the road. And once those words are out there, there's no pulling them back. Like arrows loosed from a bow, their damage is swift and often irreversible. But what if I told you that mastering the art of restraint in these moments isn't just about self-control? It's a superpower? In today's video, we'll uncover the things you should never say when you're angry, according to ancient Stoic wisdom. Words that, if left unspoken, can save relationships, preserve your peace, and perhaps most importantly, keep you from becoming a prisoner of your own emotions. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once warned, anger, an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured. Powerful, isn't it? So why do we so often allow ourselves to boil over, spilling words we later regret? Well, the truth is, anger has a way of making us believe that every thought must be voiced, every grievance aired. But the Stoics knew better. They taught that silence in the face of fury is not weakness. It's wisdom. So stay with me, because over the next few minutes, I'll reveal the most dangerous phrases you must avoid when anger clouds your judgment, and what to say or not say instead. This isn't about bottling up your feelings or pretending you're made of stone. It's about choosing your words like a craftsman selects his tools, with care, precision, and purpose. Because the words you speak today can either build bridges or burn them to the ground. Ready to take back control? Let's begin. Let's start by facing a simple, uncomfortable truth. When we're angry, we stop listening, not just to others, but to ourselves. It's as if a storm takes over our mind, clouding judgment and silencing reason. And in that storm, words become weapons. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king of Rome, wrote in his Meditations, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it." Think about that for a second. The thing that sparked your rage might be small, a careless comment, a missed appointment, a disagreement. But the aftermath of your reaction? That can linger for years. So what are the words we should avoid when anger grabs us by the throat? What phrases risk causing wounds that even time might struggle to heal? Let's take a look. Number 1. You, always, or you never. These two might seem harmless, but they're some of the most damaging phrases you can utter in anger. Why? Because they're sweeping, absolute, and often untrue. Telling someone, "You never listen to me," or "You always ruin things," turns a specific situation into a character judgment. It shifts the conversation from the problem at hand to a personal attack. And here's the danger. Once we label someone in anger, we risk defining them by their worst moments. Would you want to be remembered for your worst day, your weakest hour? Neither would they. The Stoics advised us to separate the deed from the doer. Epictetus reminded his students that it's not the person you should be angry at, but their mistaken actions. In other words, criticize the behavior, not the soul behind it. So instead of, "You never care about my feelings," try, "When this happened, it made me feel overlooked." Notice the difference? One accuses, the other explains. One builds a wall, the other opens a door. Next up, "I don't care." Oh, how easy it is to spit out these words when you're hurt or furious. I don't care. But let's be honest, you do care. Otherwise, you wouldn't be angry in the first place. This phrase isn't just a lie, it's a form of self-deception. It pretends to shield you from vulnerability, but in reality, it isolates you. Marcus Aurelius advised us to embrace discomfort rather than flee from it, to acknowledge what we feel rather than deny it. When we say, "I don't care," what we often mean is, "I care too much and it hurts." The Stoic path isn't about pretending emotions don't exist. It's about choosing how to respond to them with dignity and grace. Another phrase to banish: "You'll regret this." Threats, even subtle ones, have no place in a Stoic's vocabulary. In the rush of anger, we may feel the urge to say something sharp, something that leaves a scar. But what do threats really achieve? Fear? Temporary control? Resentment? Seneca wisely said, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." Threats create wounds in others, but also in ourselves. They turn us into someone we later struggle to face in the mirror. A better alternative? Silence. Or if words must be spoken, let them be guided by calm clarity, not heat. And here's a classic. "I wish I'd never met you." Perhaps no words are more cruel than those that deny shared history. In moments of anger, it's tempting to rewrite the past, to pretend none of it mattered. But the Stoics taught that every experience, good or bad, contributes to who we are. Rejecting those moments is like tearing pages from your own life's book. Remember, words said in fury are not the truth of your heart, but the voice of your pain. Don't let temporary fury vandalize something permanent. So what should you do instead? Simple. Wait. The Stoics urged us to pause, to let anger's fire cool before speaking. Take a walk, breathe deeply, write your feelings down. Marcus Aurelius himself would journal his frustrations before facing others, not to deny them, but to transform them. As Seneca advised, the best cure for anger is delay. Imagine it, a man pacing the gardens of Rome under a pale moon, whispering his rage to the wind rather than to his enemies. By morning, his anger would have shrunk to its proper size, a passing storm, not a lasting disaster, and you can do the same. In the next part of this video, I'll share the Stoic techniques to master these moments. Simple, timeless practices to hold your tongue when it feels impossible. Stay with me. You'll want to hear this. Now that we've uncovered the words we should never say in anger, you might be wondering, what does a Stoic actually do in those heated moments? How did philosophers like Marcus Aurelius or Seneca keep their tempers in check while leading armies, empires, and entire nations? It turns out their secret wasn't to suppress anger, but to slow it down, to create a pause between the spark and the fire. One of the most powerful techniques the Stoics practiced was called premeditatio malorum, a mental exercise of imagining potential challenges before they arrive. In modern terms, preparing for the storm before it hits. Marcus Aurelius would rise each morning and remind himself, "Today you will meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." He wasn't being pessimistic. He was being prepared. So the next time someone cuts you off in traffic, delivers a snide remark, or dismisses your hard work, instead of being blindsided by anger, you'll remember, Marcus told me this would happen. And in that tiny moment of awareness, you claim back your power. Another Stoic strategy, the power of perspective. Seneca advised that whenever you feel fury rising, ask yourself, Will this matter a month from now? A year? 10 years? Picture yourself, old and gray, sitting by a quiet window, remembering this very moment. Will it still sting, or will it seem small, almost laughable? Anger thrives in immediacy. It demands action now, words now, retaliation now. But wisdom lives in distance. By pulling back, like a bird rising above a storm, you see the situation as it truly is, a passing inconvenience in a life filled with bigger, worthier battles. Here's something else the Stoics did. They embraced silence. In today's world, we're conditioned to fill every space with sound, every pause with a response. But sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do in anger is nothing. No words, no retort, just silence. Cato the Younger, a fierce Stoic and political figure, was known for his unshakable calm. When insulted in the Roman Senate, he would often say nothing at all. His silence wasn't weakness. It was strength in its purest form. Because the moment you refuse to react, you deny your anger the fuel it craves. Imagine a fire deprived of oxygen. It chokes, flickers, and eventually dies. Your silence can do the same to anger. Another valuable tool, shifting your attention. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself of the vastness of the universe. When something provoked him, he would picture the endless stretch of time, the stars overhead, the cities rising and falling. In the face of such immensity, how significant is one rude comment, one disagreement, a single harsh word? Next time you feel anger bubbling up, look to the sky. Watch the clouds drift, the sun set, the wind stir the leaves. You'll find it surprisingly difficult to stay furious when reminded of how small our troubles truly are. Finally, forgive quickly, not for others, but for yourself. The Stoics believed holding on to anger was like drinking poison and hoping the other person would suffer. Seneca wrote, "To be angry is to revenge the faults of others upon ourselves." Why carry that weight? When you forgive, you're not excusing bad behavior. You're freeing yourself from the grip of bitterness. It's not about letting them off the hook. It's about unhooking yourself from the chains of resentment. And the truth is, most of the people who provoke your anger won't even remember it tomorrow. But you might, unless you let it go. So what does all this mean for us? It means we have a choice. Every day, in every frustrating moment, we can choose to speak words that build or destroy, to let anger rule us, or to let wisdom guide us. The Stoics never promised a life without anger. They promised a life where anger would no longer command your tongue, your heart, or your peace. And isn't that what we're all after? In the next part of this video, I'll share a simple, practical, Stoic exercise you can use today. Yes, today, to stop anger in its tracks before it ever reaches your lips. Stay with me. You won't want to miss this. All right, as promised, let's talk about a practical, time-tested Stoic exercise you can start using today. It's simple. It's effective. And the best part? You don't need a fancy meditation, cushion, or a quiet mountain retreat to do it. It's called the view from above. This technique was one of Marcus Aurelius's favorites. When things felt heavy, when anger tugged at his chest or frustration clouded his mind, he would mentally zoom out, way out, beyond the palace walls, beyond Rome, beyond the very earth itself. Imagine this. You're looking down at your life from a bird's eye view. First, you see yourself in the room you're in, then the building, the street, the city, and higher still, the country, the swirling clouds, the continents, the vast oceans, until finally, your tiny, momentary problem becomes a mere speck in a sprawling, ancient world. Now ask yourself, is this worth my peace? There's something powerful about shrinking a problem by expanding your perspective. The Stoics believed that most of our anger comes not from the event itself, but from the weight we assign to it. The words someone spoke, the way they ignored us, the little injustice. These things sting because, in that moment, they become our whole world. But when you step back, when you realize that the universe has been turning for billions of years, that empires have risen and crumbled, and that your anger will dissolve, like mist in the morning sun, it suddenly seems foolish to let it poison your day. Another simple but powerful tool? The pause. It sounds too easy, right? But that's why it works. When you feel that heat rising in your chest, when your jaw clenches and your heart quickens, don't speak. Don't move. Don't type that text or send that message. Just pause. Take a single breath. Count to 5. Or better yet, repeat a Stoic phrase in your mind. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It might seem like a small thing, but in that single breath, you regain control. You interrupt the momentum of anger, that rush that demands an immediate reaction. And often, that's all you need. A single pause to remember who you are and what kind of person you want to be. Here's a thought experiment the Stoics loved. Imagine you're watching a play. In this play, people will insult, betray, disappoint, and frustrate each other. That's the nature of drama, isn't it? Now imagine you're not a character, but an observer in the audience. You're watching events unfold with curiosity, not attachment. When you adopt this mindset, you realize you don't have to be swept away by every insult or injustice. You can watch it, learn from it, and let it pass. The Stoics believed life is a series of roles we play. Sometimes you're the hero, sometimes the villain. Other times, you're just the bystander. And no matter what role you find yourself in, it's all temporary. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, remember that anger is a teacher. Seneca wrote that every angry episode reveals something about us. It shines a light on our expectations, our attachments, and our illusions of control. Why did that comment hurt so much? Why did that slight matter? Often it's because we expected the world to behave a certain way. We assumed people should always be kind, fair, or grateful. But the Stoics remind us, people will act according to their nature, not our hopes. And so each moment of anger becomes a lesson, not about them, but about us. So the next time anger grips you, try this. Pause, breathe, zoom out. See the event for what it is, a passing moment in a fleeting life, and ask yourself, is this worth disturbing my inner peace? Chances are, it won't be. In our final segment, we'll gather these ideas into a simple, Stoic-inspired plan you can carry with you into the real world. A personal code for handling anger with grace, wisdom, and unshakable calm. Stay tuned. You're closer to mastering your mind than you realize. Now that we've explored the nature of anger and uncovered those timeless Stoic practices, it's time to weave them into something practical. A simple, personal code. Something you can carry with you, Whether you're standing in a crowded subway, sitting in a tense meeting, or staring down a passive-aggressive comment online. Because let's be honest, the world won't stop testing your patience. So, here's a Stoic-inspired plan for navigating anger, one that doesn't involve bottling it up or pretending you're unaffected, but instead teaches you to master it, to own it, and ultimately, to let it pass. Step 1. Recognize the spark. The moment you feel that familiar surge, the tightening of your chest, the flush in your cheeks, the sudden urge to snap back, notice it. Awareness is everything. You can't control what you refuse to acknowledge. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself, "You shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care." The world isn't plotting against you, it's just being the world. So when someone cuts you off in traffic or dismisses your idea, instead of reacting, silently say to yourself, "Ah, here it is, the spark." Step 2. Pause and breathe. It sounds almost too simple to matter. But this is where the magic happens. One breath, a slow inhale through the nose, a longer exhale through the mouth. In that space, you create distance between the trigger and your response. Think of it like holding a snow globe, and if you shake it, everything swirls in a storm of chaos. But if you set it down and wait, the snow settles, and you can see clearly again. That's what the pause is for. Step 3. Reframe the situation. Here's where the Stoics truly shine. They understood that events don't disturb us, our judgments. About them do, Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." So ask yourself, is this truly harmful? Or is it just inconvenient? Is this a genuine injustice? Or simply my pride taking a hit? Most of the time, you'll realize it's the latter, and even if it is a real offense, you still have a choice. You can either let it dominate your mind or treat it as an opportunity to practice patience, resilience, and calm. Step 4. Respond or don't. Not every insult requires a reply. Not every argument needs your participation. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to add fuel to a dying flame. The Stoics believed that dignity wasn't something others could take from you. It was something you surrendered when you reacted without wisdom. When you choose to respond, do so deliberately. Use calm, measured words. Or, if it serves no purpose, let silence be your answer. As the old saying goes, silence is sometimes the best reply to a fool. Step 5. Reflect. After the moment passes, and it always will, take a little time to reflect. What did that situation reveal about you? Were you too attached to your pride? Did you expect the world to treat you a certain way? Remember, every conflict, every burst of anger holds a mirror to our soul. The Stoics saw these moments not as inconveniences, but as lessons, opportunities to see ourselves more clearly. So, what does this all lead to? A life of inner peace isn't one without difficulties. It's a life where you meet difficulties with composure, where you face insults and obstacles not with bitterness but with curiosity. Why did this affect me so much? What can I learn from this? When you live by this code, you'll find that fewer things bother you. Your world becomes quieter, steadier, and though the storms still come, you'll no longer be swept away by every passing gust. In our final chapter, we'll tie all of this together. A reminder of why mastering anger isn't about becoming emotionless, but about becoming unshakable, about choosing peace over pettiness, wisdom over impulse. Stay with me. We're almost there. And so, we arrive at the heart of it all. Why does this matter? Why go through the effort of holding your tongue, pausing when your pulse races, and reframing moments that feel unfair? What's the point of mastering anger if life keeps offering you reasons to get mad? The answer is simple, yet profound. Because peace is worth protecting. The Stoics weren't trying to turn themselves into cold, emotionless statues. They didn't reject anger because they feared it. They understood it. They saw it for what it truly is. A thief. A thief of reason, of dignity, of precious moments you'll never get back. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. And what greater adversity is there than mastering yourself in the heat of the moment? When you hold back harsh words, you're not suppressing your humanity. You're reclaiming it. You're choosing not to be a puppet of circumstance, not to let every passing slight or sharp tongue drag you into battles you don't need to fight. Imagine your mind as a still pond. Every insult, every rude comment is like a stone tossed into its surface. If you react to each one, ripples spread endlessly, distorting your reflection. But if you leave the stone to sink, the water calms and clarity returns. Isn't that what we truly crave? Not the temporary satisfaction of a sharp reply, but the lasting contentment of inner calm. You'll notice something interesting once you begin to live this way. The less you respond in anger, the less the world seems determined to provoke you. It's as if, sensing your unshakable calm, people stop testing it. Or perhaps it's simply that you no longer see every moment as a personal affront. And the truth is, most things aren't. That driver didn't cut you off because they hate you. That stranger's rude remark wasn't a calculated attack. Even those closest to us, in their worst moments, are often speaking from their own pain, their own battles we cannot see. The Stoics teach us to focus on what we can control, our mind, our choices, our words. Everything else is external and to be weighed lightly. Marcus Aurelius kept this wisdom close. In his meditations, he reminds himself, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." It's not about denying the sting of anger, but about refusing to be its prisoner. Because here's the quiet truth. The person who angers you controls you, and each time you let fury govern your words, you hand them a little piece of yourself. But when you pause, when you breathe, when you choose stillness over storm, you remain whole. So, the next time you feel your blood rise, remember this: your peace is priceless, and no careless word, no passing offense deserves the power to take it from you. In mastering anger, you don't lose your edge. You gain mastery over your life. And isn't that, after all, the very essence of Stoic wisdom? Let me leave you with a story. There was once a Stoic teacher named Epictetus, born a slave, yet remembered as one of the wisest men to ever walk the earth. One of his students asked him, "Master, what should I do when someone insults me?" Epictetus smiled, a calm, knowing smile, and replied, "If someone calls you a donkey, look to see if you have 4 legs. If not, let it pass." Simple, almost humorous. But within those words lies a lifetime of wisdom. How many times have we allowed words, mere sounds in the air, to steal our peace? How often have we become prisoners of someone else's passing anger? And what might happen if, instead, we responded with that quiet smile, the one that says, I choose my peace over your provocation. You see, the mark of a strong person isn't how loudly they can shout or how sharp their words can cut. It's how steady they can remain in the storm. And you, my friend, have that strength within you. If you've ever had a moment where anger almost pulled you under, but you caught yourself, took a breath, and chose stillness instead, I'd love to hear about it. Or maybe there's a time you wish you'd handled better, a lesson you carry with you now. Drop it in the comments below. Share your story. Because every time we open up, we remind each other. None of us walk this path alone. And if this video brought you a moment of clarity, a pause in your day, or a lesson you'll carry forward, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and joining this growing circle of seekers. We're all here, walking the winding road of wisdom together. Until next time, stay grounded, stay calm. And remember, not every battle deserves your sword. And so, as we leave this reflection behind, remember, anger may knock at your door 1,000 times in this life. But you hold the key. You decide which emotions are guests in your house, and which you leave waiting on the doorstep. You are not your temper. You are not your worst moments. You are the calm beyond the storm, the stillness beneath the waves, and the wisdom waiting in silence. Guard your peace like a priceless heirloom, because in a world so loud, the quietest hearts often see the clearest. If this video offered you even a single moment of clarity, I'd be honored if you'd leave a like and subscribe to Stoic Scrolls. Here, we're building a quiet corner of the internet for thinkers, seekers, and souls chasing wisdom beyond the noise. And if you're ready for your next reflection, I've left a video right here on the screen. A deep dive into how to master negative thinking inspired by the ancient Stoics. Trust me, you'll want to hear this. Until we meet again, walk steady, speak gently, and stay grounded.